Before we start, Gary Papworth, great to see you back, Gary, has reminded me to ask everybody who's staying for lunch today if you could put your name down on the sheet now, if you would, and that can conclude the business of that. We don't have to worry about that, Gary, so that's done.
Thank you.
All right, happy?
Yes.
Good. Good to see you happy. Okay, we welcome any visitors today. We have any visitors today?
Yes.
Bill, we got Andrew, anyone you know?
We've got guest speaker, Mr. Bruce O'Connor,
Thank you.
making himself important, and also Alex Russ Copley.
Yeah. Alex is out in the back there. I just met Alex before, and it's been a long time since I've seen him. Last time I saw him, he was gracing the fields of the VFL, and kicking goals from all over the place, jumping over blokes, and not sure if you get away with these days, mate.
Also,
No, he's a champion footballer, and very pleased to see you here, Alex. So thanks for making the time. Thank you.
John, I've also got a visitor.
Yes, Brian.
Ken Breer is my visitor.
Ken Breer. Where are you, Ken? Thank you. Yeah, Ken's been here before. Good to see you again, mate. Thank you. Great to see you. Anybody else? No. Okay. All right. We don't have any new members today. We've got any birthdays of late?
84 last week.
84. Well done. Congratulations. Yes.
I'll be a new member. I've been here before, but
Yep.
I bought this paper and all that today. So
Wonderful.
Phil Carter.
Phil Carter.
Yeah. Wonderful to see you, Phil. Great to see you back, mate. Phil Carter, everybody. So during the course of the morning and lunchtime, if you're around at lunchtime, please make yourselves known to Phil. Good to see you, mate. Thank you. Okay. If there's no other birthdays, Andrew, I'll ask you to do the roll call, please.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Rob Adams. Mr. Peter Bedford.
Yeah.
Mr. Noel Benton.
Yeah.
I couldn't hear Mr. Noel Benton.
No.
Mr. Bert Berryman.
Yes.
Mr. Bruce Bazant.
Present.
Mr. Heck Davis.
Apology for heck. Permanent.
Permanent.
Yes.
Mr. Michael Doherty.
Present.
Mr. John Doherty, yes. Mr. Len Edwards.
Here,
Mr. Robert Urbacher.
Sir Robert, actually.
Mr. Alan Evans.
Present.
Mr. Brian Fitt.
Present.
Mr. Mick Francis, still away. Mr. Bob Frenchen.
Apology.
Okay. Mr. Noel Griffith.
Apology.
Mr. Stuart Hall.
Apology.
Mr. Frank Henning.
Present.
Mr. Bob Hill.
Apology.
Mr. Detlef Hingst.
Yes. Apology.
Mr. John Horsfall.
Present.
Mr. Reg Jackson.
Apology for Reg.
Mr. David Jones.
Apology.
Mr. David Lunn.
Present.
Jerry Mazzoletti. Brian McMahon.
Present.
John Metcalf.
Apology. Gone north.
It's gone.
Gary Nervo.
No apology for him.
Mr. Gary Papworth. Present.
I'm here.
Graham Ratton.
Yes.
Kevin Ryan.
Still looking after your back.
Will Semler.
Including my roller.
Colin Styles. Colin Styles.
Yes.
David Taylor.
Yeah.
Les Sterling.
Yes.
Keith Tupper.
Present.
Livio Turacek.
Yes.
Ian Williamson. John Perry Jones.
Apology.
Joe Landsberg.
Yep.
Phil Carter. Ron Spenceley.
Apology for wrong.
And that's it.
Okay, thanks, Andrew. Anybody we missed? No, good. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Can I now invite our secretary, Colin Styles, to make his presentation?
Hang on, I just was going to give a little secretarial comment. If that's okay, then I can give a presentation. Is that all right?
Well, just a comment. Yeah.
Okay, right.
Just-
Some of the things that might be occurring is there's a cruise we're giving thought to on the Moonee Ponds River. Now, can I just get some idea about those who might be interested in such a trip? It's a fantastic sort of cruise down the river and Maribyrnong, I should say. The Moonee Ponds Creek doesn't exist, except for a pub. So how do people feel about a cruise down the Moonee Ponds River? Is this something, and later on a lunch at the end of the arm? Is this something that people are generally...
Is that open yet?
I've been in communication with the person who owns it, and we sort of had it, luckily, in your absence, we thought we'd do a few
Yeah,
things.
I realise that, yeah, but I've heard a lot of, that it hasn't been open for a while.
No, it hasn't been, but they actually had the boat in for repair,
Yeah, that's right,
and I was told it would be saleable in October or so. And the reason for this inquiry is to see if members are interested in such a trip. Put your hand up, you reckon it's good.
Good thing, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, okay, I'll pursue that. Should I pursue with the Secretary's report? Or wait a bit?
No, you can wait a bit. You've got some idea. You want to give your report now?
Of course it is.
All right, you're up.
Okay, right, this wasn't sure. The book club's going on, and what else to say? As you know, there's the ecumenical gathering this Sunday too at the Arden Street Crescent. That's all the Secretary has to say.
All right. Okay. Thank you. The man who looks after all the money, Bert, have you got a report?
Yes, petty cash has been unchanged for months. No one wants it.
Here's the board of coffee.
I've been minding it, looking after it. The bank balance is $12.91. During the month we paid $224, which $160 was for rental equipment and the rest were fitting and stationery, etc. That's about it, left with $12.91.
All right. Things remain stable
Yep,
in hospital speak.
yep, pretty good.
Things are unremarkable. Okay, thanks, Bertie. David Lund. David, good to see you here again, mate.
Thank you, John. I wanted to mention Detlef Hingst first of all, who hasn't been here for a little while. He had lymphoma and he's staying away from crowds while the treatment. But he's doing rather well, which is good.
Good. Yeah.
Noel Rivers not here today. He's in the Austin. A bit of a story, but I spoke to Pat a couple of days ago, and he was absolutely amazed and horrified by his gas bill. So he went and shut down one of the vents in one of the rooms and toppled over. Anyway, there was a lot of toing and froing. And he ended up in the Austin. Basically, I think he had low potassium due to his diuretics, and he's getting better anyway. And according, giving plenty of cheek, according to Pat.
Yeah.
I spoke to Bob Hill a couple of days ago. He's going well. His only problem is his balance.
Yep.
Otherwise, he feels really well. He was a bit grumpy about the D's, but I'm fine with it. We had a good conversation, and he's getting out and about. He recently went to a restaurant, the best restaurant in Ivanhoe, Bartuto, with Merv Pizzi's son and family. People may remember Merv, who died some time ago.
Right.
Otherwise, he's doing very well, and coming to the end of his intensive rehabilitation program at the repat.
Yep.
But he's going well. He's off to a family gathering at Japarrit in October. It's a 4 to 5 hour trip, and he finds it a bit daunting, but he's determined to go. That's Bob.
That's the spirit.
Good.
That's Bob. Thank you.
Thanks, David.
David, just to let you know, I had a phone call from Hector Davis's daughter,
Yes.
and he's doing very well in the nursing home.
Right.
It's going okay, and I did speak to him. And he's got a whole list of numbers, and he's trying to work out who they belong to.
It's not the bookie, is it?
I don't know, but he's doing okay. He's doing. He's in his 90s now.
He really needed to be in care.
Oh yeah, he's told us that he
Delayed
can't do things for himself.
He delayed it too long. But
Yeah, that's
thanks,
for sure.
Thanks for that.
That's okay, no worries.
Thanks, David. When you're talking to those men, if you'd be good enough to pass on our best wishes from the Probus group here.
I do that all the time.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. Yeah, good on you. Thanks, David. All right, that's great. All right. Unaccustomed used to public speaking. I'll call on Gary Papworth, our external activities man. He's back.
Just.
Back.
I'm okay. I'll get there. As long as I don't trip over the course.
Yeah, what's it called, mate?
Yeah, that's for sure.
You know what I have to do the other night?
Good morning, everybody. Are you okay with that? Yep. Okay, everyone can hear me. Good morning. It's great to be back. I have a few changes for one or two things on our outings, unfortunately, that were printed in the newsletter. Unfortunately, things change from time to time. The first thing I've got up at the moment is Sunday the 17th of September. It's already been mentioned. It's the ecumenical church service at Arden Street Church at 2 p.m. I've got a list up around the corner there. Whoever's going, please put your name on the list because they need it for catering. Okay, so make sure you put your names on the list this morning so that I can ring them up and let them know. I've got them working at the village with me. That's what I get these information from. Tuesday, September the 26th is lunch at the Templestowe Hotel. The time is 12:30 p.m. The address 23 Parker Street, Templestowe. And I've only got my name on the list, or two names on the list this morning. I need names whoever's going to the Templestowe Hotel on the 26th of this month, okay? Monday, October the 2nd to the 6th is a 5-day tour of the Limestone Coast with Group Link. Now, is anybody here going on that at all? Is anybody booked into it at all? Nobody. I'm the only one that's going. It's unfortunate, yeah. It's a good trip down there. I've been there before. It's really good. They're still looking for people if anyone's interested.
Where is the Limestone Coast?
It's down along the Great Ocean Road, down through that way.
What was the date again, Gary?
It's the 2nd to the 6th of October. I think you're away, aren't you,
Yeah, we're
Grant?
away.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's for sure. They're still looking for people. Okay, Tuesday, October the 24th, I've arranged a 24-seat bus for a day's outing. Now, this is where the changes are I've had to make. The trip is to the Yarra Valley. We're going for morning tea to the chocolatier, where you can watch chocolates being made, have coffee and buy some goodies. Then we were having lunch at the Healesville Hotel, but they wanted an absorbent price for a 2-course meal, and I said no, because we can't afford those sort of things. I said if they had it, we could just do like we do here, have a seniors meal, but they don't do that there. Okay, which is cancelled, okay? And still of that, we're going to the Healesville RSL. So I've got into a Healesville RSL. And we were going to a winery, but I was checking out the wineries too. Their lunch and their wine tasting for lunch is $62 for a 2-course lunch and then $20 for tasting wine. So it puts the price on it. People can't afford those sort of things, and I said no. So what I've done, we're going to the chocolatier for morning tea, then we're going to the Healesville RSL, okay? And all you have to pay, you pay for those things for yourself, and for the bus, it's $30 per person to be paid for on the day. You only have to pay for the bus. The pickup will be at 9:30 a.m. in Bandung Park at Hardiman Street. We have been picked up there before for going on our bus trips. Please start putting your names on the list so we can have 24 to make the trip a goer. If we don't get 24, I have to go outside and get them, okay? The money is to be paid at the October meeting in an envelope with your name and number on it, okay? Now, I don't know what Andy's done about this. In November, we were going on Tuesday the 28th, hopefully a tour of the Coburg Jail. Are you still working on that, are you, Andy?
We are.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. Just let me know when it is and I'll fill out a paper for it to fill it in. December, Wednesday the 6th of September. Hang on, I've got more paperwork here. Wednesday the 6th of December. We're going to have a Christmas lunch with Rosanna Ladies at Bolero Receptions, 1435 Main Road, Eltham. The time is 11:30 a.m. The cost is $50 per person. It was advertised in the newsletter at $65. It has now been dropped down to $50 per person, okay? On the list is turkey roast and ham with seasoned turkey gravy, and barramundi as well there too. Traditional Christmas pudding, strawberry cheese cake and straight compote and whipped cream. A lemon squash and ice water on the tables. A guest can purchase alcohol beverage from the bar. Okay, everyone's invited. I've got a list up there. If anyone's interested, please put your name on the list as soon as possible, okay?
When are you doing the final numbers by, Gareth?
Well, you'd have to have them in by November. So this is for December. So we have to have the numbers in. They have to get 60 people to make this a goer, okay? That's why they've asked our club to join in with them. Okie dokie. Now also, I have a couple of messages here from our friend David Jones. Morning Melodies, return visit to the Lower Plenty Hotel, 4 Main Road, Lower Plenty, Tuesday the 3rd of October 2023. Paul Hogan, Not the One, will perform Bobby Darin's songs, commencing at 10:30. If attending, please record date below. I've got a list here, and if you want to go, put your name on the list, okay, for David. Also, he's given, another one here for the golf day at Latrobe Golf Course, okay. The plate details at 10:30 a.m. head off. Non-members green fee is $40. Lunch only, attendees welcome, okay. Please record details below by ticking boxes where necessary, okay? I'll leave that up the front to be filled in too, whoever wants to go to play golf.
What date is that, please, Gareth?
The date is the 28th of September, Thursday the 28th of December, okay, at 10:30 a.m. at the Latrobe Golf Course. Okay, that'll be the lot. Thank you, anyone. Thank you.
Well done, Gary.
Yeah.
September.
Yep.
Good to see you still got it, Gary. You haven't lost it, mate.
Not yet.
Okay, all right. Can we call upon Colin? Members' Corner, Part 2, Indonesia. Thank you.
That's cave one.
Can we just have the lights down, please?
Very good.
Okay. I just need to do a bit of this.
Tell me
There we go.
who's out in the edge.
Booting up.
Are they upstairs or what?
No, if they are, they're not going to start. Go to the reservoir, there's a lift. You go to...
That's what sort of worried me about them.
There we go.
No, they've got one here.
Just drop that ring next.
All right, thank you.
Similar.
Yep, okay. Righto. Right. Sukarno, Indonesia, this is it. Abracadabra. Something's happening.
Put it right on
It's
the
always the
map.
pregnant pause, isn't it? Here we are. Right, can people see and hear that?
Yeah, just straighten up the projector.
That's
Okay.
makes it look like that.
So you want that straightened up a little bit.
That'll do.
It's, I'm a little bit.
Hang on.
It's worse.
It's all right.
Close. Yeah, that's it. Well done.
Okay. I spoke last time about the Language and Cultural Immersion program I did in Bandung. So today I'm just going to talk about an experience, teaching and learning a language, a bit about Sukarno, who is the father of modern Indonesian, actually a very important time when he was sort of instigating his thoughts. And I'm going to give you all a little bit of homework. Whilst in Indonesia, I had to interview people in the language, and I was walking around the university and I came across a poor unsuspecting lady, and so I asked her what she was doing at university, and she said she was a singer, learning to sing. So I then invited her to sing, and this is the result of this experience. That's me saying luggy luggy, and then you'll see in the picture that other people joined in. I'm bringing this closer so you can hear it sound better. So this bloke just turned up with his mate as part of the celebration. What in the hell were we doing? And we're all laughing and just having fun. This is in Bandung. So this is a language and cultural immersion program. Forgive the photography. So that's, I think, how you immerse yourself in another country. Okay. Okay. So that was a very pleasant experience. Whilst there, I was involved in going to schools where I had to ask questions of the children in Indonesian and so on. But at the university, we were required to give a speech or a lecture on the topic, just to see if we were worthy of being there. So I gave a talk to them about how you might learn and how you might teach a language. And so I thought I'd just make the first comment, is that we're all born and we're all made to speak. And in the brain, and this is the left hemisphere of the brain, there are specific areas that aid the construction of speech, and that's Broca's area that you can see there. And there's specific areas that aid the understanding of speech, and that's Wernicke's area. So it's an evolutionary advantage for us to be able to talk. Now, what's the benefit of talking? And this is in Indonesia, but basically it takes information from one person to another, and it provided examples. And it actually has opened up time. Speech and talking has opened up time. We can then consider things that are in the past. We can consider things in the present. And as I've written here, a description of goods, activities, how you might plan an activity, emotions, making things simple, and social interactions. And also speech opens up the future. We can plan the future. What's basically the history of speech? Well, human beings have been around, Homo sapiens, about 300,000 years. It's interesting to consider that the first writings started about 5,500 years ago. So for only about 2% of the existence of Homo sapiens have we had writing. So in this time, communication was mainly with speech and the reliance of memory. And the talk that Barry Blake gave, and those slides have been distributed, highlighted how stories were for the Aboriginal people a way of documenting their history. And it was extraordinary. The Aboriginal storytelling gives understanding of Port Phillip Bay before it was flooded. So the third part of this talk is about Sukarno. He is really the father of modern Indonesia. Born in 1901, died at 70. I just go through some of the features of Sukarno. He was outgoing. His father was a Muslim and also a theosophist. That's a sort of mixed religious, para-religious philosophy. He had an aristocratic heritage basically in Surabaya, which is Western Java. His father was a teacher. His mother was a Hindu, a Brahmin, and coming from Bali. I put that in particularly because of Pupatang, which is a ceremonial suicide that occurred in 1906, when about 2,000 Balinese suicided in front of a Dutch attack. They were all shot. Some committed suicide, some just walked to their death. He was a talented linguist. He spoke 8 languages: Bahasa Indonesia, Balinese, Javanese, Sundanese, Dutch, German, French and Arabic. I've listened to some of his speeches in English and they were very good. He did his engineering training in Dutch. He was a civil engineer at the Bandung Institute of Technology, which is an internationally rated school. He was a teacher and a playwright, well read. He was a strong nationalist and he was very much in favour of the Majapahit Empire. That was the Empire of Indonesia prior to Dutch arrival in 1600. He believed in the traditions of Indonesia, and I mentioned one of them, Mahabharata. And he also believed that Bahasa Indonesia was an essential unifying feature of Indonesia as a common language. They would have roughly, say, 500 individual languages, but they needed a common language for a country. His philosophy was Pancasila, which is Sanskrit, and his 5 general philosophies I mentioned last week, and also his belief in emerging nations. Economics, and this is his strong point, the impropriety of imposed imperialism and capitalism, gotong royong, which is community support, and doing economics from the point of view of an individual. That's microeconomics. So a well-rounded and highly intelligent and capable man. This is a complex diagram of the development of him as a father of a nation and his philosophic development. The green is between the ages of, he's about 15 to, about 13 until he finished secondary school. He did this in Jakarta, in Surakarta, where he was under the influence of Jokowi, who started a lot of independence groups. He then went along to the Bandung Institute of Technology, where he furthered his political career and gave speeches. And in this period of about 9 years, started the Partai Nasional Indonesia and other groups and became a nationwide figure for independence. The red is the time that he was put in jail or in exile, and they were about 13 years. So he was just put away. He first of all was charged in court, and for his defence, he spoke for 2 hours on his defence, and he said the following: "I'm an Indonesian nationalist, but I haven't shot or shown any force against you, yet you show force against us." He pointed out that the Dutch came uninvited and imposed an economic system on them and took the resources of Indonesia, and I'm going to fight for independence for the rest of my life. Well, the Japanese invaded and took Singapore, then invaded where he was incarcerated in Sumatra. He escaped the Dutch control. The Japanese knew he was about, and they then took him into their care, for want of a better word, and he then collaborated with the Japanese. He did several things, and he was quite an enterprising man. Given the difficulty that the Japanese army posed in terms of prostitution and rape, he then started a brothel for them in Sumatra, where the ladies would have a card. The Japanese soldier would punch the card, and then so the ladies would be paid the money. That saved a lot of distress within the surrounding area. He also collaborated with the Japanese and got Indonesian people to be trained as a military force, probably to help the Japanese, but in the long term he knew that the Japanese would finally leave, then he'd have an active force to provide for independence. The third and controversial thing he did, he collaborated with the Japanese to get labour people to do projects. There was one called Pekanbaru, where 300 Indonesians tried to make a railway across Sumatra with success, but with a lot of death. Well, independence came. Well, not independence, but when the Japanese declared surrender in World War II, the Indonesians then declared their own independence. But then there was a period of about 4 years of fighting with the Dutch, and that was finally finished in 1949. The Japanese had invaded the Yogyakarta, which was the governance site for the Republic of Indonesia as it was then declared, but the Americans were totally distressed. They were giving money in the Marshall Plan, and the Dutch were using this to fight for their colonial rights or supposed rights in Indonesia. Then the Dutch gave up and Indonesia was then declared a country. I just highlight a couple of things in the final grey bit, which was before 1965. The army was absolutely important for the maintenance of Indonesia as a country. There was a lot of separatist activity and the army was very important. There was continual fighting against communist activity and various political activity from the Islamic groups. The CIA actually attempted to have a coup within Indonesia, and that was put down. Well, very interesting politics. And the final little comment I'll get to is 1965, when there was a mass genocide. You probably remember this, the 30th of September 1965, 5 Indonesian generals were murdered, and then the army turned against the Communist Party and various Chinese groups. Between 500,000 and 1 million people were slaughtered. The CIA assisted the murdering by providing names of those who were in the Communist Party. It's interesting to note, in about 1967, which was 2 years after that event, and that finally led to Sukarno not being in government, that Barack Obama lived for 5 years in Indonesia. His mother married an Indonesian person, and for 5 years he lived within Indonesia. So, what I've done is just highlighted my experience in Indonesia. I've spoken a little bit about language, and the fact that I'm trying to learn a language makes you think about how you should teach and how you might learn a language. I've spoken a bit about President Sukarno, who really was a most talented man. He went off the rails at the end because of his foreign policy and a whole lot of other things. And Indonesia has matured to be really a fairly effective and 4th largest country in the world and our neighbour. And I think for us to effectively interact with Indonesia, we need to understand their history and some of the critical points that really made Indonesia a country, a modern country. There is one link I'll leave you for homework, and I'll put this in the club newsletter. There was a film made by the Waterside Workers' Federation in 1946. It was called Indonesia Calling, and it was instigated by the International Workers' Unions and the Waterside Workers' Federation, and they put a black band on Japanese ships, or ships taking Japanese munitions and soldiers to Indonesia to fight the Indonesians. In history, this is seen, and with Indonesia, as a major positive thing Australia has done. We did some bad things, but this was a major positive thing, and I suggest you look this up on the internet and have a good look at it, and it goes for about 20 minutes. As an interesting aspect, it's narrated by Peter Finch, he's basically English, but his father was George Finch, who's an Australian, who in 1922 did a major ascent of Mount Everest and base camp. So he's with Mallory. So it's an interesting film, and I suggest you look at it. Thank you for your attention.
Oh, well.